All right, it's 6 o'clock. I call the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for November 16th, 2022, Town of Sunnyvale. Regular meeting to order. In attendance, we have Commissioners Bradford, Burton, Mays, Moss, and Hagan, and myself. So we have a quorum. Now we open the commission meeting up to public comment. We invite citizens to address the commission on any matter except any of those on the agenda item tonight. We will hear those later, and we'll open those up to public comment. So anyone wishing to come forward and speak, please do so. All right, as I see no one coming forward, we'll close public comment portion of this meeting and move on to the consent agenda items. We have the minutes of the last meeting and two minor plats, consent agenda items. Any discussion or questions about those?
I'd like to make a motion to discuss consent agenda item number 3, just because there are some questions I wanted to ask town staff and town attorney on.
So you can just pull that off the agenda, off the consent. All you have to do is ask that it be pulled from the consent agenda, and then we'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda without that item, and then you can take up that item individually.
Okay. So you make a motion?
It doesn't require a motion.
No motion? Okay. All right. So we'll pull item number 3, correct?
Correct.
Off the consent agenda item. And
So the motion on the
motion.
consent agenda would be to approve items 2 and 4.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve items 2 and 4 on the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion.
I second it.
Seconded. All those in favor? 6 in favor. Thank you. And none opposed. Items 2 and 4 on the consent agenda item pass. Now we will move to discuss the item number 3.
I just was trying to get clarity so that we could give future applicants, just because I read the part about the flagpole lot.
So that was for, let's see. Okay, yes, sir, yes.
And just so we could save ourselves a bunch of time in the future, Brenda, are we allowed to just tell future applicants, please just go to the Board of Variances?
No,
Board of
they have to, well, they can, yes, they can apply for a variance
Board of Adjustments.
through the Board of
Through
Adjustment.
the Board of Adjustments.
Right, but I'm just going back to that young couple who was here a few months ago, and we sat here for 45 minutes, but it was...
Correct.
I remember we talked about it, and it was
Right.
like,
So staff can do that, and staff does that. But if someone pays their fee, they get to come before you.
okay.
So that's not something that staff can say, you don't have the ability to process that.
But could
Through
we have the
PNC.
ability to, like, let that person kind of...
They
No.
do that all
Okay.
the time.
I just wanted to make sure that, okay.
They do it all the time.
All right. I don't have any other questions on that.
Okay, any other questions concerning the item? None? Okay. All right, so we'll close the discussion on that item and put it up for a vote as a consent agenda item.
I'll make a motion to approve number 3.
Consent agenda item number 3, motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Have a second. All in favor? 6 in favor, none opposed. Consent agenda item 3 passes 6-0. All right, now we move on to discussion action items. Property located at or near 370 to 374 Barnesbridge Road. Philip, can you give us some details on this?
Yes, good evening, Commission. Good evening, Commission. The subject property is located generally at 370 and 374 Barnesbridge Road. It's zoned SF2 and is roughly 16.5 acres. The property is, it fronts both North Collins Road and Barnes Bridge Road. Surrounding this property is other property zoned SF2, and also the town limits in between us and ETJ to the north, I believe. Lyle, is that?
I'm sorry, Sir Philip, could you please repeat?
Is it ETJ to the north?
No, that to the north on the other side of Barnes Ridge, that's
Is it
actually
Garland?
within the city of Garland.
Okay, so that is the city of Garland.
Yes.
Both North Collins and Barnes Bridge Road are two-lane undivided collector streets. North Collins often serves as a cut-through from Garland and US Highway 80. Bobtown Road connects to I-30 and sees a significant amount of traffic. The town's Unified Development Ordinance allows for the town council and P&Z to review and approve the use of an alternative type of fencing not mentioned in the UDO. Currently, the UDO requires lots over 1 acre in size to have a maximum height of 4 feet and to have 50% visibility in the front yard. I've discussed this alternative fencing with the police chief and fire chief. The one concern from the fire chief is a matter of access with ingress and egress to the property. For the fence, there will need to be a building permit issued, and at this time, the fire chief can discuss how clearance is needed with the applicant. With public safety issues being resolved, staff recommends approval. This is an aesthetic type of approval for y'all, so it'd be looking at and seeing if it's something y'all would want.
So the proposed wall would be both on Barnes Bridge and on Collins?
Yes, so where that orange line is.
Yeah, right.
Is there existing limestone already?
No. And the applicant is here if y'all need to ask any questions from him. Y'all can certainly open it up and bring him forward.
Okay, all right. Would the applicant, or representative applicant, please step forward and state your name and address for the record?
Chairman, members of the commission, thank you for your time. My name's Mike Twitchell. I've owned this property. I live on the property, own the property. Lived here since 1998. I've raised 3 children here, which the middle one is sitting back there with me, and that's the one the plat got approved for. Oldest daughter is the house that was just built. I'm an architect and a contractor, mostly do commercial work. Being here for so long, I've seen the trials and tribulations of the traffic of Barnes Bridge and the bridge itself right now, and Collins and traffic for Collins. Both my daughters who will be living here have grandchildren. There's 4 of them, and we kind of keep this is going to be a compound. I have a son too. Hopefully he'll come back here, and we're going to keep this as a compound. And we got 4-wheelers and dirt bikes and go-karts and all that stuff running around. So we do have a little bit of a safety problem. I've had a care flight helicopter land on my property several years ago from head-on collision with Collins. And like just coming here tonight, the traffic was backed up from coming all the way past my property on Collins. And I don't know what's going to happen when the bridge gets built, but I can tell you the Mitchells are down the street, have got a cable fence, and they've had 2 cars go completely through the cable fences already. So I have a concern. I've had people go through my fence also. I don't even have a fence anymore. Being that I have 4 grandkids now, where I have the marks is where I want to put the stone wall, and I will show you this. It's a project we did before. This is a project we did in Ennis, called Ennis Steel Company. We're the architects and contractors. This is basically going to be the same wall. Thank you. It will be filled with stone.
Pretty standard.
I got it. If you drive to Houston, you'll see this building. It's Ennis Steel. They're a very successful steel company. We're the architects and contractors and interior designers on it. The wall you see right below are are actually limestone blocks out of Gerald, Texas, which is real close to Austin. We used to do the Cheddar's restaurants, and we use these stones almost exclusively. It's the same stone that's on the building here, by the way. These are blocks. They're going to be 6 feet to 8 feet long, 2 feet wide, 2 feet high. They weigh almost a ton apiece. I can bring them in on ground. We drop them down, stack it 2 times, so they'll be 4 feet tall. Anybody hits that wall is bouncing off of it, and that's what I want. I want to make sure that I don't have a truck or a car coming through and accidentally hurting my kids or anybody on our property. The reason I'm only doing a portion of it is that the remainder of the property is heavy vegetation or topo, and the site plan I showed you shows the topo, but along Collins, the topo is very, very steep in there. Anybody comes through there is going to be stopped by the trees and stuff. Obviously, on the 2 other pieces on the sides, my neighbors, I don't need it. So the reason for the wall is for protection. I'm only asking for 4 feet tall. I will be building the wall myself. I'll be coming in for a permit, obviously, to do the case. We will have gates. I'll have 2 gates in my house, 1 gate from my daughter there, and I'll probably have at least 1 gate to there, and I may put another gate for the other, where the other wall is right in there. If not, I'll be prepared to put one in later if need be. So, if you have any questions, we've done this in several situations in different pieces of property, and it goes in pretty quickly. I think the whole length of these walls, I can probably have it in a month's time. So, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
All right, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll open up public hearing portion of this agenda item. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please step forward. All right, seeing no one, we will close the public hearing portion of this agenda item and move on to discussion. Yeah, it looks like a safety issue to me. The only variance, right, is from 4 feet and 50% visibility.
Yes, that's the
to
alternative, is the
0%
50% to 0,
visibility
correct.
Because it's a barrier,
Correct.
basically. Yeah, it's not a retaining wall or anything like that. It's just for, right.
Correct.
Okay.
You mentioned that the maximum was 4 feet.
Correct.
Is that just because it's other material? Because
It's because it's the front yard.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so front
Okay.
yards of lots over 1 acre are allowed to have 4 feet of fence.
Okay, although there are some lots that are over an acre that have, well, I guess it's not their front yard, I guess it's their backyard, and their side yard is over 4 feet in some neighborhoods. Okay,
So you're
gotcha.
allowed 8 feet on your side, and then I believe for estate fencing, there's other regulations that they would
Okay,
go underneath,
Gotcha.
and that's 4 acres or more.
Typically metal wrought iron, or if it's wood, I guess every other picket, it would have 50%
Correct.
visibility, right, to conform. Okay. But this one's a stone wall, so. All right. Any other questions?
I mean, to me, the safety issue's only increased even more with, I don't even know how many homes they're building right down the street from them. I mean, I drive by there every weekend, and I'm like, there's already like 15 up. I don't even know how. They've already built 15 in that new Garland neighborhood, so yeah. Growing up here, I know the property very well. You know, sure, it's been a reprieve having it be a long cul-de-sac for the time being. But yeah, when that does open back up, I totally understand where he's coming from with the safety issue.
And I assume the increased traffic is from people in Forney driving through Sunnyvale to get to Highway 190. And other parts of Dallas.
9:30.
Beltline is getting really, really backed up at rush hour, and so is Collins. So can only increase with more density in Forney and surrounding areas. Any other questions? Comments? Nope.
We're ready for a vote.
Motion. Make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve case 1759, special permit for the Twitchell addition of the alternate fence material.
Okay, have a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
Second. Commissioner Hagan seconded. Everybody in favor? Raise your hand. Looks like we have 6 in favor, none opposed. Passes 6-0. All right. So now we move on to the public hearing item to discuss revised requirements for cul-de-sac and dead-end streets.
Good evening, Commission. The town's UDO was adopted in 2018. Since that time, the UDO has been amended occasionally as new issues have arisen. With staffing changes within the town administration has requested that staff review the UDO's cul-de-sac requirements and bring back any recommendations to deal with the ongoing issues. Staff presented the findings of this review to the town council during their work session on October 24th. This item is meant to cover existing constructed non-conforming cul-de-sacs that are in excess length to that provided in the UDO and would allow for extensions not to exceed 40% of the existing street and the subdivision of no more than 40% of the existing lots the cul-de-sac already serves. Staff recommends approval.
All right, thank you. All right, any discussion before we open this up to the public? We can discuss after also. So, okay, so we'll open this up to public comment. Anyone wishing to be heard on this agenda item, come and speak, step forward.
I believe we have one public comment form from Ms. Deborah Franklin. She has put that she is in support and does not know if she will speak. So either she is wishing to record her vote as in support or wishing to speak in support.
If y'all are not going to have any discussion, then no, I will say.
Well, we probably may do some discussion at the very end here, but I didn't get all that she's in.
So you can come forward and discuss, Ms. Franklin.
Oh, okay, yeah, please do.
Thank y'all so much. My name is Deborah P. Franklin. I live at 629 Pecan Creek Drive here in Sunnyvale. And I just wanted to say that I do support this change because y'all did vote on this in 2019. And the ordinances, of course, came out in 2018. They were updated. But when Rashad Jackson was here, it even said in the minutes that the future extension and dedication of a concrete drive will be extended to the east to provide adequate access to the lot. And they said it wouldn't be done at that time because we just sold one lot. But we did dedicate 50 feet of our driveway as well as the north and south wings of the cul-de-sac to make it legal. And by doing so, now we're landlocked because I thought this was already voted on, ready to go, and apparently it's not. But I like the new idea that the ordinance does need to be changed.
Yes. Yeah, I do recall that. Yeah, I believe so. It's been several years, but I do recall that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, anyone else wishing to speak? Not, we'll close the public hearing, the public comment portion of this agenda item and move to discussion.
Well, I just would like to say it's nice to finally do something that benefits town residents over developers for once. And I'm very much looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'd rather not have any future meetings where they say, they did it on Robin Ridge. I don't wanna hear that anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm in support of the changes.
No other discussion or comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second? Motion to approve and seconded. All those in favor? All right, all 6-0. Motion passed. All right. I believe that concludes everything on our agenda, correct?
Correct.
All right, let's take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion
I'll
to adjourn.
second, please.
Seconded, all in favor? 6-0. Adjourned, 6:21.
Well.